Grain of sand. I checked into the hotel on the coast for a work trip. Expensive, polished, a place meant to soothe. My room overlooked the private beach, endless sand stretching under a sapphire night sky. Everything felt ordinary until I noticed a faint crunch under my shoes when I walked across the carpet. A single grain of sand, and then another by the bathroom door. I told myself maybe the last guest had gone for a swim, but the sink was clean. The tub, spotless. Only the mirror gave me pause. It seemed like it took a beat too long to catch up to my movements. I tried brushing my teeth before bed. When I turned on the faucet, though, water didn't come out, just a thin trickle of sand. It spilled into the sink, raspy and unnatural. I froze, then shut it off, turned it on again. Water came this time, but the basin was already coated with a layer of grains that clung like static. I leaned in close, and for a second, I thought I saw tiny screaming faces in the sand. But when I blinked, they were gone. I pulled the curtains shut and tried to ignore it. But at 2 in the morning, something dragged me back to the window. The tide was out, the beach stretching farther than it should. A desert instead of a shoreline. And the sand shifted like waves, crawling up towards the building. I checked the hallway, and a strip of sand trailed right up to my door, all down the hallway. Back inside, I noticed something on the nightstand that hadn't been there before. An hourglass? The sand inside of it was dark, pulsing, alive. And worse, there was something human shaped inside, clawing weakly against the glass. It rasped like millions of grains rubbing together, and the sound wouldn't leave my ears. I threw back the blanket, but the sheets weren't sheets anymore. They were covered in sand, mounded and shifting. It slid into my shoes, under my nails, against my teeth. And then they moved. The grains gathered together, forming outlines of hands, fingers, human shapes crawling from the sand itself. But the weight still pressed against my skin. The bathroom door creaked open. The sink now overflowed with sand, spilling onto the tiles. The tub was now half buried. The mirror no longer reflected me. My smile was too wide. My face began to crumble into dust. I touched my cheek, and a few grains fell. And when I screamed, only sand poured out of my mouth. The fire alarm blared. The sprinklers kicked in. But instead of water, the ceiling rained sand, pouring heavy piling high. I rushed and opened my door. Outside the hallway was gone, replaced with an endless desert corridor lined with half-buried doors. And from some rooms came muffled cries, followed by silence. I fell to my knees. The sand was wet now, warm. I pulled my hand back and saw my fingerprints were gone, rubbed smooth. My skin flaked into grains. I was eroding, dissolving. In the corner of my eye, my reflection thrashed inside the hourglass, buried grain by grain. Maybe I've always been here. Maybe we all have. Every hotel, every beach, every grain of sand. Each one is someone who thought they could check out. But you don't leave. You just get smaller. I feel the last of me slipping now, falling through the glass. Story that follows you to sleep. I lie down, pulling the blanket tight over my shoulders. My room is quiet, save for the faint hum of my fan. The clock reads 11:47 p.m. I grab my phone from the nightstand and proceed to open YouTube. A recommended video catches my eye. The story that follows you to sleep. The title makes me smirk. Perfect. Just what I want tonight. I press play, adjust my pillow, and settle in. The narrator's voice is soft, almost hypnotic. It starts casually, describing a room much like mine. I laugh lightly at the coincidence, then notice it mentions the fan humming, and my stomach tightens. And I hear him talking in the back. And as you pull the blanket up to your shoulders, your heart beats a little faster. Though you're not sure why, you feel your hands clutching the blanket. Feel it now? I stiffen. My hand instinctively clutches the blanket and my pulse is loud in my ears. The narrator continues, describing the exact way I'm lying. The slight shift of my phone in my hand, even the way I tuck my feet beneath the covers. You reach for your water, the glass cool against your palm. You sip slowly, notice the chill running along your arm as you set it down. I freeze. I just took a sip. The water tastes normal, but my throat feels dry. I set the glass down carefully, eyes darting toward the shadowed corners of my room. The darkness seems thicker than usual. There is a movement at the corner of your eye. Don't look, but you know it's there. Feel the air press slightly against your skin as it shifts. I glance. Nothing. Just the faint outline of the dresser. But the story doesn't stop. It whispers what I can't see yet. A figure leans slightly in the room, just beyond your vision. Can you see the faint shadow stretching across the ceiling? It waits, patient, watching your every breath. My heart hammers. I reach for the lamp. I pick it on, but the room remains dim. Almost darker than before. My phone screen flickers. The narrator chuckles softly, a sound that makes the hair on my neck prickle. Try to pause the video. Can't move your thumb fast enough, can you? Feel the subtle grip at the back of your hand, almost like a whisper of fingers. I yank my hand away, my phone sliding under the bed. Silence. But it's not peaceful. It's the silence of anticipation. I hear a soft creak from the doorway. Yes, there it is. Right there. Watching you, leaning just slightly into the room. Can you feel the pressure in the corners? Your chest begins to tighten. I can. My breath becomes shallow, ragged. I force myself to sit up, glancing toward the door. A shadow detaches itself from the darkness. Vague, human shape, swaying slightly. Its face obscured. My voice dies in my throat. It moves closer, slowly, deliberately. I pull the blanket over my head, shaking. My ears pick up a soft whisper, almost indistinguishable from the narrator's voice. Don't hide. I know where you are. Feel the cold brush along your leg. It's just there. Right there. The room grows colder. I feel the air press against my legs, like fingers grazing the sheets. My phone buzzes faintly under the bed. The figure pauses, as if listening, then leans closer, its shadow stretching across my ceiling, enormous and warped. Your heart races. Hear it now. You can't stop it. You can't pause me. I am already in your room, watching, waiting, always. Feel the brush of your pillow shift slightly. It's not just the wind. The lights flicker, and in that instant, the figure vanishes. Silence returns. But it's wrong. The hum of the fan sounds distorted, slower, like it's breathing. The blanket is pulled slightly from my shoulders, though I hadn't moved. My phone remains under the bed, dark and silent. I don't know if the story ended, or if it's still there, somewhere in the shadows, mirrored in every corner, following me as I lie awake, night after night. And somewhere, I can still hear a whisper. Not alone. Not anymore. Feel it? Right there. In the corner